Texas has been hit by 18 earthquakes in just the last month. Scientists are linking the tremors to fracking, the relatively new process of extracting shale gas from deep underground. And while the earth is literally shaking under the feet of nervous locals, energy corporations and the government, well, they are unshaken in their decision to keep on drilling. Guyane Chichikan reports.
The columns have shaken so hard it's actually pulled the trim if you look around here.
Rebecca Williams is showing me the cracks in her home after a series of earthquakes shook the area. She has lived here for almost a decade and had never experienced an earthquake until fracking began in her neighborhood.
I never know when the next one's going to hit. I don't sleep at night because they keep me awake at night. It seems like a lot of them happen during the wee hours of the morning or in the middle of the night.
The Texas Railroad Commission, the local agency that regulates the oil and gas industry, is trying to calm the residents' fears. It claims there is no direct link between the recent tremors and fracking injection wells in the area. But locals are not convinced.
It's a lot like living next to a time bomb, but there's no timer on it because we aren't being told when the fracking is going to start or what the emergency procedures are in place if something does happen. And so you're just constantly sitting and waiting and wondering, is today the day? Is today the day?
Seismologists with the U.S. Geological Survey say fracking regularly triggers small earthquakes. They foresee an even greater danger from wastewater disposal, which involves pumping millions of gallons of water contaminated by chemicals deep underground, where experts say it puts pressure on seismic faults and causes them to slip. But despite seismologists' warnings, fracking wells keep popping up just a few steps away from private homes and even community water wells.
Nobody knows about any of this until it's too late and it's already happened.
Even though the government has not concluded its studies on how fracking can affect the environment, well operations are in full swing. Here in Texas, there are thousands of them, impossible to miss. And it seems no study can get in the industry's way.
If, in fact, you're asking a question of whether something could happen to halt shale production in the United States, I think that is highly unlikely. It is extremely beneficial to the national economy.
Fracking has been largely responsible for the boom in U.S. energy production. But many, like Rebecca, fear they could be left to pay the price. For her, every week there is another tremor and another crack in her house. She says she can't even sell it and leave the area.
We would have never moved here if we would have thought that all this was going to go up and we were going to live in the middle of a wasteland. We would have never moved here. And now we're stuck.
While energy companies are rubbing their hands in the anticipation of gigantic profits from fracking, people who live just steps away from gas wells are increasingly fearful about the water that they drink, about the land that their homes are standing on. And they don't trust the government assessment of the damage from fracking because they say the oil and gas industry will make sure that no conclusive study comes out, even if it does come out, that it doesn't become a basis for effective regulations. In Texas, I'm Guyane Chichikan, RT.
Well, let's break down for you why people are so worried about fracking. Many believe that chemicals used in this process could accumulate in the soil, causing water and even air pollution. Activists claim there are over 1,000 documented cases of contamination right next to the drilling sites. The health risks could include sensory and respiratory damage. For more on the dangers of fracking, just head over to RT.com.